It seems I've had a delivery, and not just any delivery, from Emlems. Oh my goodness. Let's go play. Hello everyone, welcome to Nerd Goblin Art. I'm Lula. So, just recently I had an email from Emma at Emlems Silicone Moulds company. Now, they're a family-based business in the UK, but they do deliver all over. I've been using Emlems moulds now since probably August last year. Now, I'm not been doing resin for a year yet, and I just love the molds. You've seen me use some dragon ones previous videos, but yeah, Emma contacted me and asked if I could do some, oh look at that, do some molds to show you guys, and yeah, just get a bit more business. And the quality of these molds are wonderful. As you could just see there, they're solid, but they're also flexible. So yeah, and I'm loving that fairy with like butterfly wings, and this is a familiar one. I do have this one in my tubs and I love it. I've made it as a brooch, I've made it as an art piece, and that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it again, because we're definitely going to make that one again. And this, look how sweet, look at his little face. Oh my goodness, isn't it gorgeous? And again, you know, look at that. Now these molds are they are food safe standard. You can use resin, you can use food, you can use eco pores, you can use clay, you can use all sorts, even concrete. So that's really cool. It took me a few moments to work out that it says fairies, protected by fairies. And again, do you know why I like the flexibility? Is that you can really get into areas if you're colouring them beforehand, and that is something that's really cool about these molds. And look at this one. Now, I didn't actually know what molds I was getting. Emma did ask me, but it was basically like a kid in a sweet shop. I really genuinely wouldn't have been able to make any decision. So I basically told her what I really like. I love the dragon, fairy, the mythology stuff. And these came through the door, like, I think Emma emailed me on Sunday, and Wednesday afternoon, all these plopped through the letterbox. And I had to get them, you know, I had to get a video made at least with at least 2 of them today, and we'll do another one next week, just so that we're not all getting it all over with in one go. We don't want to do that. We want to try and get a couple of makes out of these, don't we? But the problem is deciding. I'm doing that one. I'm definitely doing that one without a shadow of a doubt. And I was thinking, we'll do a dragon and a fairy. Which one shall I do? Yeah, so I was going to do Protected by Fairies, but I absolutely adore that fairy with butterfly wings. I think it's right up my street of the type of things that I love. So we're going to burnish in some powders. And I've decided on this one, on the dragon, I'm going to use tiny turners. So I've got out Poison and Inferno. And I really need some more of these. I'm really running low on all my colours. I just love them to death, but they last for so long. And I'm I am I'm going to use Let's Resin Chameleon powders. I'm going to use magenta and champagne and mint as the main colours for the fairy. So there we are, and I've got my switching sponge out ready. These things, I got this from Temu. They're really handy, great for cleaning your brushes in between. And I'm just going to use a couple of brushes, and the first colour I'm going for, oh my days, look at that. My poison is nearly gone. I'll see how far I can push it. I wasn't sure if I had a replacement already in my tub, but I do not. So I do match I do match it to one of the closest colours to poison that I have, but I am going to be ordering more. They do last forever, and this particular colour, poison, I have used on so many projects, you know, so it looks like a small amount in the tub, but you'll be surprised how far it goes. So I've decided to use poison for basically like the bone structure of the wings and the dragon's spikes, and the little bit of detail on his head, as well as the spike at the end of his tail and also his tongue. And then the rest of the dragon will be done with the Inferno. It's just a case, and this is why these moulds are so wonderful, and hats off to them for making them so flexible. Because how often do we order? It is all good and well. I'm never gonna not want to order from places like Temu and AliExpress because of costability. But when you can afford to get the good quality moulds such as these, Emlems moulds, I genuinely think that they are up there with Into Resin. But they're a small family business, and if you are in the UK and you love your resin and love creating, I really highly recommend this business. They are helpful, and you know they're approachable as well. Into other businesses, the bigger ones, yes, they are approachable. But isn't it wonderful to celebrate and support a business that is based in your country? You know, I love supporting Apex Resin and Mould Resins. I do really love buying their resins because they're UK based, and there's not enough businesses out there that cover this hobby business. I don't know what to really call it. It's kind of, but you know what I mean. But as it says on the card, that they do post all over, so they're so worth checking out. And like I say, the quality is ace in the sense that you can really, you obviously be careful, but you can bend and stretch these moulds to get into the areas that will be and would be problematic on cheapo, nasty copy. I'm not sure if Emlems moulds have been copied. I've not really seen them copied at all, in all honesty. But you're not going to be able to get into them as you can with these. And the quality is so good that they're going to last you many, many pours as long as you look after them properly. And that's the thing. I've gotten the inexpensive moulds, and they simply don't last as long. They really don't. So whenever you do have that bit more, invest. invest in some really good quality molds. When I was nosing a few months back, I got some fairy cameos and some Halloweeny type cameos with skeletons and hearts and stuff from Emlems, and they're just so different to what you'll find anywhere else. And I went back again more recently because I was looking for a link, because in a previous video I have made raven earrings and death moth earrings, and I had got my molds from Emlems, and everybody in the comments and in the premiere, where do you get those from? And they'd never heard of the business. And a lot of these people asking me, are UK based artists? So I went searching on the website to find a link so I could share the link with them, and I was blown away by how many more designs have been added since I last looked. There's even stuff like, Alice in Wonderland based, and I was like, ooh. And then I was down a rabbit hole again. It's just one of those websites. But you were paying for quality, and I think the majority of the molds as well are extremely good. The cost is good. I really do think the cost is good for the quality and the different sort of stuff that you're not gonna find in many other places. And as you guys know me, I love doing things that are different. Yes, I'll do the odd technique and thingy that, because I see other artists doing it and I want to have a try, I want to see if I can do it. But the vast majority of the time, I like to create my own thing. Okay, whilst I've been waffling, look, I've nearly finished painting this dragon. Well, burnishing. Elixir from the Tiny Turner is one of the closest colours I can match to Poison, and so that's what I've done, and I'm happy with that. And I just want to make sure that I'm getting it on all the sides and making sure I'm getting in all those little nooks and crannies on this mold, because I want it to look spectacular, and it's gonna look spectacular. I know it is. It is just beautiful. I love dragons. I really do love them, and this is just something completely different to anything that I have. Now, a little while back, I did some of Emlems molds, and I put them into frames. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. It's more like a serpenty type dragon, isn't it? I really like that. It's so those colours, match made in heaven. And Tiny Turner, by the way, is a UK based business too. So this is a British video today, because even my resin is from the UK too. So there we go. So I'm just checking out this mold, and it's always a good idea to really investigate them so you can work out where things are. So I picked out there, I'm using coffee for the fairy's skin colour. So I picked out and worked out where parts of her flesh are, basically. So you clearly, she has the face and she has a neck, but she's wearing an outfit type thing as well. It's almost like a crop type top. I can't think of the right word. I don't know words. And then she's got a little bit of belly showing, and then like a skirty wrap type thing. Can you tell that I live in t-shirts and dungarees and stuff? And then obviously legs. When you're burnishing in your molds, if you are new to this, the first colour that is touching the mould is the colour that is going to appear on demold. So I chose to do the skin colour first, and then I can easily clean away the areas that I don't want that colour touching. and that's the way you build it up. I tend to go for the smaller areas in a way first, so getting around the skin areas. What I notice as well is she has lovely long hair that comes off her head, and then obviously around, it goes behind where her wing is, and then comes out and wraps around the bottom. So just being wary with that. And then as I was cleaning, this is why it's really good to pay attention, I realised that her two legs are actually on show. When I did another mould a while ago, it was an angel and a dragon, not one of these branded Emlems. It was, I'm pretty sure it was a Temu one. I completely missed some parts, some body parts, and then it makes more work afterwards if you really want a good job of it. So just to get into the smaller areas, I've just sprayed a little bit of isopropyl alcohol onto my silicone mat, and I've got a micro brush. And this really helps for getting into those really tiny little areas when your white just isn't going to get there for you. And what's great is when you are cleaning these areas, again, as long as you're careful, you can really move these moulds about for getting into those areas, so that you are getting the best out of the mould as you possibly can. It's not just a case of slapping colours in. Sometimes, yeah, it is cool just to pour a mould with colour and just see what it looks like. But personally, I love it when it's treated as like a piece of artwork, as if it's a colouring in type thing. But it's not to say that it's not really cool if you want to do a marbling effect or something like that. It is very likely that is bright gold by Let's Resin, and that's for the hair. It is very likely that I'll pour this mould again only in black, and then dry brush gold over the top of it for another project, because that's the sort of thing you can do. But it is great seeing how many different ways these moulds can be created, how many different ways they can be used and what you can create from them. I will say also that it's so important that when you are burnishing in really detailed moulds like this, do your resin after, do all your mixing of your resin afterwards, because you don't want to end up rushing because you're like sitting there and your resin's getting warm and you end up rushing, and then you end up making mistakes, and then you pour it, you unmold it, and it doesn't work out, or you missed a bit, or and it's just either more work or it's not as you envisioned it in your head. So do bear that in mind, is save mixing up the resin until you're happy, because this actually took a lot longer than I expected it to. There was you could see me putting on mica powders, chameleon powders, and then having to go back in again with a wipe and with a micro brush. And again, just like what happened with the leg, while I was cleaning up, I realised I'd missed an entire piece where her hair actually was flowing. So yeah, it is that easy to miss parts. It really is. So I love this kind of world. I've been painting dragons. This is Mint by Let's Resin, and that's a chameleon powder, and I'm going to be using this on her outfit. I've been painting dragons and fairies and stuff for the longest time. It's one of my favourite mediums to paint in acrylics on canvas or wood. And in the worlds I create, dragons are the size of toadstools, and they have fairies, and there's jumping spiders, and the sky could be the colour of cotton candy. It's just a beautiful place to be in your imagination. And I've always had that kind of imagination, even as a child. And I would tell my children that if they found daisies in the garden that had pink tips on the end, that's because fairies had been dancing on them. And it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful to have stuff like that. And I think that's why, even at my age now, I still absolutely love everything, all the folklore or little tales and stuff about fairies and dragons, and anything that I can incorporate animals in with as well, with being a part of that world. I've painted pieces where badgers are sitting with a frog, talking to fairies. I've done all stuff like that, and being able to almost create a world like that with resin as well is really cool. And you can really stretch your imagination with these types of moulds. I've already got my eye on some that I'll be purchasing over the next couple of weeks. You guys know that I love upcycling old jewellery boxes and stuff, and some of the bits and pieces I've seen, I'm like, I need that. Oh, I need that as well. Oops, need that. So I started with champagne for the top of the wing, and then went into the magenta for the bottom darker part of the wing. And I'm just using my big soft brush, just to make sure it's all nicely in and touching all the edges. Just look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm genuinely excited. I was, talking to Mr. Goblin as I was doing these, and he's like, I can't wait to see those when they're done. I'm like, I know! So I've put some card underneath. Oh, sorry. Magic. I've put some card underneath because the mould can pull up the silicone mat, and when I want to move things about, it just makes life easier. Now I'm only going to be doing the dragon in the black epoxy resin. I forgot what it was called because I've been waffling. That's what it is. I'm just doing the dragon in the black, and I'm going to put on some first, and then you'll watch me open the mould up a bit, just like this, and just try and encourage for the resin to go down into all areas, because I want to make sure that we pick up on all those spikes and such as well. And by the way, I did put the resin through my debubbler because I wanted to get the best as possible out of this make today. So as I say, the card underneath helps me being able just to lift the moulds up so I can give them a little tap, and making sure that I can still move them about, because if I hadn't put the card underneath and then I go to try and move these moulds, you could potentially cause a mess because of it being sticking down on your silicone mat so much. It also protects your mats. My mat is pretty good because it is a heat proof kitchen silicone mat, and not everybody buys those ones. So these types of molds, and it happens with many molds, including ones from Into Resin and even from Temu, some of the quality of the silicone that is used, it can lift and buckle, or in a way it give a bit of a weird shape to your silicone mats. So just make sure that you're putting something underneath so you don't cause any damage. So as you can see, filled it up, and I'm just tidying up and making sure. The tidier the better, because it means less cleanup at the end as well. I decided to mix in the champagne. Sorry for doing. I decided to put the champagne colour into this mould. I did consider putting white in, but I'm basically out of white. And I need to order some. But I figured, you know what, let's put this colour in the back, because I just want to show that with good quality chameleon powders and such, you can still get a really good effect with the powders. It may not be as intense, but you don't always want it to be massively intense. But I think it's a good thing to show you these two moulds both ways, with the lighter backing and with the darker backing. And sometimes I do want things to look a little bit pastel-y. It's like a pastel, almost more pastel. Yeah, I think that's the word I'm looking for. If it's not, you never mind. So I'm just going to be keeping an eye on this for a few, just to make absolutely sure that I'm happy and everything goes where it needs to. And of course, any bubbles that are coming up, I'm making sure to pop. So there we are. So these are cured now. It's been a good couple of hours. Tiny little bit soft, but that's okay. Don't tell anyone, okay? But it's fine. Everything's fine. It's all good. And ready. Out it comes. And we're ready. Wow. Look at the detail on that. It is absolutely gorgeous. I've been so excited. I'm so looking forward to this all day. And oh my goodness. Dragons. It's the dragons. I absolutely love them. And I know these are going to be, I know this is going to be awesome because of the other dragon ones I have. But it's exciting still though. It's always exciting doing a mould for the first time ever. Like I said, slightly soft, but we're not telling anyone. You ready? Oh my goodness. Isn't that stunning? It's I'm like smoothing it, admiring it. You know I'm in love. He's so sweet. I love it. I love his little hands as well. I really do love them. They're so nice. So what to do next? He's so pretty. Yes. Must smooth the pretties. So I've got a little bit of repair work to do. So it's my first time pouring, and I say this all the time, that sometimes you're going to get a few areas, and that's not the fault of the mould. It's not really even the fault of the resin. You know, I did put my heat mat on, and potentially, yeah, it could be. You know, sometimes it can, but maybe I just didn't tap it enough. I didn't use, because I do my voiceover after the video during my edit, I'm like, Lou, in my head, why didn't you use your heat gun? You know, what, like I usually would when you're halfway, you know, when you've got the, like, half the resin in. Why didn't you use your heat gun? And genuinely, I think I was just so excited. Genuinely so excited about getting these poured so I could unmold them and see them. I just didn't think. And I think if I had remembered to do that, I don't think I would have had any of that. But it's fine, because I'm not making them for perfection. I'm making them because I love making them. And knowing, you know, what parts may be a little bit troublesome, that helps for future makes. So what you saw me just doing was using some UV resin, and it was the last dribbles of my J Diction UV resin that was left, and I just used it with my silicone tool just to get rid of the more obvious bubbles where the bubbles caused them. Well, I wouldn't have minded micro bubbles, but they were genuine holes. So I've covered those, and now I'm using pens just to clean it up.
Color chaos in my head, brush strokes dance where canvas bled. Resin pools make rivers wild, clay sculpts dreams like a child. Layers thick with frantic love, paint drips down a sky above. Hands so messy, heart so clean, art machine fueled by caffeine. I created midnight's glow, blended whispers no one knows, resin dripping to the floor, clay and paint forevermore. Fingers work in silent screams, brushes swirl in broken dreams. Color bursts just like a storm, resin glazes clay reborn. I created midnight's glow, blended whispers no one knows, resin dripping to the floor, clay and paint forevermore. Fractured visions come alive, mixed media makes me thrive. Art's a space where chaos sings, you woven through the strings. Fractured visions come alive, mixed media makes me thrive. Art's a space where chaos sings, beauty woven through the strings.
Wasn't that lovely? It's been a while since I've played music in between talking. I thought you deserved a break from my waffle. So this frame mould is also one of Emlems, and I bought it back last year and I've used it quite a few times, and that's just a piece of cardstock that I found in my tub, and it fits perfectly. And I have also UV resined the fairy to give her a lovely finish. And I put him in a frame as well. That frame I found in one of the charity shops, and I'm just using, like I did on the other frame, rub and buff. It's an antique gold, I believe, and anywhere I can, anything that I can link below, I will. So he's looking awesome, and I just used a glue gun because I'm too impatient to wait for like other glues, but those are glued in place and I think they look amazing. I mean, really, it's uniquely different, and if you're making things for markets or for shops, anything like that, you're gonna find your people. You're gonna find the people that absolutely love and adore this kind of stuff. So this is the website. Check them out. They are amazing, and we'll do another make next week with the other molds actually that we've had. Check her out. I love it. It reminds me of a quote. What if I fall? But my darling, what if you fly? Thank you for watching. Love you and stay weird.
In a room full of colors and swirls, Nerd Goblin art draws a magic world, with foxes that prance and badgers that dance, a whirlwind of dreams with a single glance. Gerald the alligator grins so wide, in enchanted waters he loves to hide. Dragons breathe wonder with flames so bright, each creature born from a magic night. Nerd Goblin paints life in every brush, animals frolic in a vibrant rush, from canvases to tales